Rendition of one of my favorite songs. Yeah. Did that take you back somewhere? I saw some smiles lighting up out there. Oh yeah, right now is what we have, right? This moment, this time together, this blessing. Well, maybe you heard the story about the three guys who were attending a funeral of one of their friends. And they were very rich. And the first one walked up to the open casket and looked down and put in $1,000 and said, I want you to never need anything in the next life. So the second one, richer than the first, walked up behind him and put $5,000 in. And they both turned to the third one, who's the richest of all of them. And they saw as he wrote a check for $100,000, and he placed it in the casket and said, cash it if you need anything. Well, welcome to week 5 of our prosperity series. Yeah, we've been working with these beliefs about money and what is prosperity and riches beyond money, and working with Jim Rosemurky's book, Even Mystics Have Bills to Pay. So we know that prosperity encompasses all aspects of our life, relationships that are satisfying and harmonious, and work or volunteer work or creative expression that we love to do, and health and well-being and joy, friendship, love, peace, all of those things, as well as finances and enjoying beauty. So how is your prosperity journey going? You know you're in the master class right now, as there's so much out in the world that says the opposite of what we've been talking about, right? So we are all in the master class of noticing what's out there, which is temporary, it will shift, and coming in to anchor into the one presence, the one power, and the truth that God is our true source. And when we seek first the kingdom, all will be provided for. So we've been anchoring in those eternal truth. And also that we are holy, whole, and complete. You are holy, whole, and complete. Let's say that I am holy, whole, and complete. Oh, that feels good. Let's say that again. I am holy, whole, and complete. And one more. I am holy, whole, and complete. Yes. So we've been looking at cleaning house in our consciousness, right? And sweeping out cobwebs of lack and limitation and fear. And in that space, beautifying it with bouquets of truth. That's all I kind of see, little flowers, bouquets of truth. And as I was researching our topic today, prosperity in the home, wow, we could do a whole class on this, because I found so much. There are house clearing and cleansings, there's house blessings, there's a lot about art and decor to evoke prosperity and give that feeling. There's the feng shui, placement of items in the home. And maybe, how many of you do some of those things already in your space? Yeah. So that's fun to play with, isn't it? And the outer. And notice how the outer and the inner work together, right? Our inner home and our outer home. When one changes in the outer, that helps us release or have order in the inner, and vice versa. When we do that inner work, the outer can't help but change. So we'll talk a little bit about, that's what we're going to talk about today. As well as putting our inner house in order, we're looking at restoring order to our physical place, to our physical homes, and how that can bring us more peace, well-being, and the prosperity experience, greater prosperity experience that we seek. So first, some thoughts about home. A house is made with walls and beams. A home is made with love and dreams. Anonymous. A home should be a stockade, a refuge from the flaming arrows of anxiety, tension, and worry. That's Wilfred Peterson. And I like this from Francine J. Your home is a living space, not a storage space. Can relate to that? And this is lovely from Proverbs 24:3. By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all the precious and pleasant riches. So we know those are inner riches as well as outer riches, right? So I want you to think about your home for a minute, wherever you call home, whether it's a room that you rent, or an apartment, or a mobile home, or a house, or an RV, or something else. Just think about your space for a minute, and maybe close your eyes and just think about where you're living right now. And see what image comes to mind. And notice, what kind of feeling does it bring to you? And just notice, is there a feeling of, does it bring a smile to your face? Is it a place you enjoy coming home to? Or is it a place to park your stuff? Just notice. So whatever image came to your mind today, my prayer is that by the time you leave today, you will have one little nugget, one thing that you can take home and practice to improve your relationship with your home and experience more of that peace and prosperity in your home. So if the walls had ears, what would they hear? And if your home could talk, what would it say?
Get rid of some of this stuff.
Oh, get rid of some of this stuff? You know, we kind of get used to walking around the stuff, don't we? As I was leaving my apartment today, and we just, get busy with life, and then I paused and I thought, boy, this needs to, there's a little pile here. This needs to be released. So we're going to talk about that too. But we have to remember that we are energy beings, and we bring our energy with us wherever we go. And that's especially true in our homes. And if we're there, a lot, the house collects the energy. It holds the energy of its occupants. So have you ever walked into a home and felt either it was welcoming or not? Walked into a home and wanted to walk right out because it just didn't feel good? Or have you ever walked into a home and just, automatically smiled or felt relaxed and safe and comfortable? And maybe that's your own home that you go into. And think about a time when you were looking for a place to live. A room, an apartment, a house, wherever. And could you feel in your little search which ones just kind of repelled you from it, and which ones was like, ooh, yes, this feels good, this is where I'm going. So what do we make welcome? There are so many creative welcome mats. I had fun with that, but you can put anything you want on a welcome mat. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I like this one. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Yeah, Holy Spirit. It's the whole Spirit of God working in us and in our lives. So, in our Mystics book, it shares some things we can do to create prosperity in the home. So I want to share 3 of those with you today. So the first thing we can do is to create a habit of thanksgiving, to give gratitude for our space and speaking words of appreciation into it. You know, the walls that hold you and shelter you, that give you peace and rest and a place to come home to be yourself and just let go. I knew a family that had a journal on their hall table by the door, and they had a habit of, the parents and the kids would write in the journal during the week something they were grateful for, and then they would sit down as a family and read it at the end of the week. So if you live by yourself, you can still do that, you know? Write something you're grateful for when you first come back, and then read it at the end of the week. So thinking about your own place that you're living in, what do you appreciate about it? What are you thankful for about it? What we appreciate, appreciates. As I was thinking about it, the place I'm in now, one kind of odd thing that I'm grateful for is that I have seen no insects inside the house. No spiders, no beetles, no ants, nothing. So I was surprisingly grateful for that. And also how I get afternoon sunlight through my window. And it's so nice to have that direct sunlight. So think about what you can appreciate in your place. And sometimes we take our homes for granted, don't we? We just get so busy living and in and out, but to give thanks in your home and thanks for your place. So think about putting out the welcome mat. Gratitude is like putting out a welcome mat for more good to come in. So think about, what do you want to show up at your doorstep? Gratitude, more good. Jim Rosemargy, the author of the Mystics book, says, "A prosperous person does not move blindly through life. They notice the good in their lives and around them." Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, had a lot to say about intentionally putting good into your homes, filling your home with positive energy to build up an atmosphere free from fear and filled with love. Because love is that magnet that draws more of itself to itself. He says, avoid making assertions you don't want to see persist in your home, no matter what it looks like on the surface. Banish thoughts and words of lack and limitation. Don't say money is scarce, you'll scare it away. And I love this. He says, think plenty, talk plenty, give thanks for plenty. Select carefully those words with, charge the atmosphere with plenty, for like attracts like in the unseen and in the seen. So that's part one of our Unity principles, right? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, have an attractive, co-creative power. So you have that power. We have that power. I was thinking of when I was in Sacramento, one of the Unity churches, large Unity churches up there, had a project with Habitat of Humanity. And they built a house for a family. And what the volunteers did was write blessings on the walls of the living room. And I was looking for a picture of it. I couldn't find it online, but it was very beautiful. Just blessings all over the walls. And of course, that got painted over. But think of the energy that the family came into with the home. So Emmett Fox talks about the mental equivalent, which means that whatever we desire in the outer world, we first have to make room for it up here in our minds, to have the mental equivalent of it. So you already do this. Think about all the good in your life right now. You've made room for it up here. You already have had the mental equivalent for it. So when we think about what we'd like to bring into our lives, we can ask ourselves, am I making room for it up here in my mind? So if your heart's desire has been for a love relationship, or maybe more friends or new friends or more activities with friends, can you make room for it in your mind and picture yourself opening the door to them and saying hello, or sitting on the couch or sharing a meal or laughing on the patio together? Can you picture that? Or if you've been envisioning and praying for healing in a family, can you picture opening the door to your place and hugging your family member, or sitting down, offering them a meal, sharing a meal together in your home? Or maybe you've been really wanting a quiet place in your house. If you live in a busy house with people, you've been wanting just your own little nook that's yours, that's quiet, where you can create or pray or meditate or do yoga or whatever. So can you make room for it up here in your mind? Imagine it and take that into prayer to hold that vision with feeling, Oprah Winfrey remarked, when you invite people into your home, you invite them to yourself. So we can kind of look around and ask ourselves, what am I out picturing in my home? And does it reflect the real me? Because when we change on the inside, sometimes the things that we have felt admired or really, felt attached to in our homes or on the outside, they don't fit anymore. We kind of outgrow, we're in a new place. So we can give thanks for what we have and still give thanks in advance for what we're vibrating to, creating with, and aligning with for that greater peace and prosperity in our homes. Which brings us to the second thing we can do to create prosperity in the home. And I think Sunshine mentioned it, is declutter. Declutter. Who's doing that right now? I bet some of you are. Oh my gosh, a lot of you are. Yay. So, I was thinking about this. What causes us to cling to things? I have to pry our fingers off. Some say sentimental value, or I might need it someday. Or that was my great-grandmother's, I can't, I have to keep it. But consider, if it has sentimental value, why is it packed in a box in the back of the closet? Why not on display where you can enjoy it? So perhaps we hang on to things because, things we don't need or use because we think it'll make us feel secure. Or it's become part of our identity. But in reality, those boxes of stuff that we've forgotten what's in them until we move just add to our sense of insecurity, right? So this is about freeing up energy. Fear of the future also causes us to cling, which blocks the flow of good. So this is an individual choice. And how fashions come back around. I have had moments where I said, I should have saved that dress from 1979. It's back in style now. But does it fit? So this fear of clinging is constriction. It's one thing to appreciate what we have and enjoy beautiful things. That's one thing. That adds to our sense of abundance, doesn't it? But to cling out of fear is a whole nother constrictive energy. And we can see this playing out on our world stage right now, right? Just the fear causing hoarding and withholding, when in truth there is enough baby formula, there is enough food, there is enough gasoline that only needs to be released from the panic-driven, clutching and clinging stockpile and put back into circulation. Can you see that? So we can see that in our prayers and hold a vision of that flow being released, that flow happening now through expected and unexpected sources. Unexpected channels, I might say, because we know that God is the true source with many channels to distribute that good. And with God, all things are possible. So we can hold that in prayer of that flow being released and all needs being met. So we can do our part by restoring order and putting things back into circulation right where we're at home. And consider this, thinking that we're all connected in spirit. So what would happen if even half the people in this country, or maybe even a fraction of the people in this country, put their own house in order, had harmony in their own home, decluttered their minds, their hearts, their homes? Do you think that would ripple out to our nation's home? That home in Washington, D.C.? Well, ancient wisdom speaks to this, and I want to share this with you. It's from the ancient philosopher Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching. It's called Peace in the Heart. If there's to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there's to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. Well, that's the spiritual work we do, right? When we come here on Sundays, and the spiritual material we read, the spiritual conversations we have, the spiritual food we ingest for peace in the heart that ripples out in ways we can only imagine. So back to our homes. So we can start small with this decluttering. Maybe it's even one drawer or closet. You know, that one that you don't want to open. That you just kind of put out of your mind, like, yeah, it's over there. And then clear, clean, and release. And feel that flow. And I love a good before and after. You know? Can you just feel the different energy of these before? And it looks kind of familiar, actually. And then the after. And can you feel the difference of that? Energetically, yeah. Which one do you think is going to promote more peace to its occupant? So when there is no outflow, but only inflow, life stagnates. Kind of like the Dead Sea, where it's only fed with water from the river, but it has no water flows out. It has an inlet, but no outlet, and no life can live there. So that can happen in our lives sometimes when we just, consume or feel consumed, whether it's by things or emotions or whatever. We need an outlet. We need to release it. So if you're ever feeling stuck or stagnating, clean something out in your home. Could even be your car or your purse or your backpack or something. Get that flow going. So when you go home today, I invite you to look around and see, what's ready to be released. I know I have by my door, I have several empty coffee cans of a certain brand of coffee my parents used to like. And, every time I drink that coffee, I think of them. And so there's been a little bit more than just the coffee. But now I think there's about 8 cans that's empty. And I think, a preschool could use these, or someone, could use these. So, we come face to face with our habits too. And just to be gentle with yourself and start small, one little area to release. I think those cans are going to find a home somewhere. If you need some, there is the recycling bin, that's true. And I noticed that Carlsbad has started a compost bin too. Yeah. So clearing the clutter from our homes help to clear the clutter of our minds and help that prosperity flow. So the third thing we can do to create prosperity in our homes is to make a forgiveness list. How many of you have done this before? A forgiveness list. And Jackie sang about the radical forgiveness. That is a very powerful forgiveness practice because it pulls the thread of what current things are attached to from the past, and it helps you to reach back and heal some things. Radical forgiveness. So making a forgiveness list, and this is kind of a specialized list because on your list include anything related to a house or a home. So on your list, if you need to forgive a past roommate or roommates, or a landlord, or a property management company, or a real estate agent, banks and loan companies, contractors, anything associated with the home, to make that forgiveness list, be willing to release it, and even you could have a ceremony of shredding it. Just say, now release, I let go, I forgive, I let go and let God. Let it go. Free yourself. Put out the welcome mat for your good to show up in your home. So one more quote, and we'll close with a poem. I like this, from Charles Henry Parkhurst. Home interprets heaven. Home is heaven for beginners. And then in closing, we have this from one of my favorite poets and writers, spiritual authors, John O'Donohue. It's called To Come Home to Yourself. May all that is unforgiven in you be released. May your fears yield their deepest tranquilities. May all that is unlived in you blossom into a future graced with love. And so it is.